over the past 4 months, I've really been dealing with some things. Life has definitely been lifing. Hey, y'all. Welcome to the first episode of From Surviving to Thriving podcast. I'm your host, Jackie. This is the place where we will be taking off the veil and pulling the curtains back a little bit. Before I get started, what's in my cup? I have some sorrel that my aunt made for me the last time I was in Delaware. What did you say I had again?
I said you have some sorrels.
Some what?
Some sorrels.
Sorrel? He's trying to say sorrel. I figured, why not kick this new venture off? Have me a nice glass of sorrel beside me. My cup of water with my electrolytes in it because Jamaica is hot. So, I need my electrolytes back. In this episode, I will be discussing why I decided to start a podcast and basically what you can expect from this venture. Some of you guys have been following my journey for the past couple of years, and my content was mainly about my journey moving back to Jamaica from the US, and of course traveling all over the place. A little bit of lifestyle stuff about what you'll find around Jamaica and what things cost here. And then also I'll throw a little bit of funny videos in there here and there. So that's what I've been doing for the last year and a half or so. But I recently decided to kind of slow things down a little bit, take a break. And over the past 4 months, I've really been dealing with some things. Life has definitely been lifing. I had to slow things down, and that's what I'm sure a lot of you guys may have noticed. I'm sure you also was wondering why the slowdown, and I really didn't come to the conclusion as to whether I wanted to share this with everyone until last week. And when I say last week, I'm literally referring to the last week in July. I was having a conversation with a close friend of mine about the journey that I've been going through this year and whether I really wanted to share it because it's such a personal journey to me. And I wanted to figure out what was the best way to share that journey. That way it doesn't come off cringy, as we know how certain things on social media comes off. I want it to be more of I share my experience so others can relate and learn from it and take what they can from this experience as well. I didn't know exactly how I wanted to do that until last week. And I was talking to my friend, and at first I was wondering if I should post it on my YouTube channel or how to go about it. But it didn't come to me until towards the end of the week, I decided a podcast is probably the best way to put this information out there, share these things that I'm learning with others, and hopefully have you guys relate to what I've been going through. So without further ado, let's just get right into it. For those who know me, you guys know that I am a very private person. When I say private, I mean most people, even my family members and some people in my life, don't know whether I am single, married, divorced, employed, unemployed, broke, full, hungry. Most people don't know what's going on in my day-to-day life. Unless you're really close to me, I usually keep things close to my vest. I've been this way for so long that a couple years ago or a year and a half ago, when I decided to start a YouTube channel, it really took a lot out of me to decide to even open my life up in that sense to share that bit of information with you guys. I guess that was how I kind of took the leap and stuck my toe in the water to test it out to see how I would feel, whether it was something I would be comfortable with or not. And it grew on me. It definitely took some time for me to really get comfortable in front of a camera, talk into a camera, and divulging information that I would think is personal. But now it's kind of taken a little bit more of an extreme turn because some of these things that I will be sharing on this podcast is things that most people would not really expect me to share. But again, I feel like this journey that I'm on, it's been on my heart to share this information and to hopefully help some people along the way. And also, let people know that the things that you're experiencing, you're not alone. Just know that just because someone looks or seems a certain way, we go through similar things. It's so easy to share the positive things that are happening in our lives and, to look on social media and see all the happy moments that people are going through. But I also want to touch on the fact that just because we see all of those happy moments, that sometimes there is a lot more below or beneath that people don't necessarily see. And we still need to acknowledge those things. And that's kind of the journey that I've been on this year. And I'm sure a lot of us have been feeling it and maybe not even understanding what we're feeling, but we'll get further into that later. For now, let's talk about what happened and why I decided that it was important to share this journey with you guys. For me, I really did not fully understand what was happening to me until it already happened. And I saw the signs. I felt like things were off. I knew that something was wrong, but I just couldn't figure out exactly what was wrong. I couldn't put my finger on it. I really want to say this started probably around maybe sometime in 2022. And I think it just progressively got worse in 2023. And then once 2024 hit, I think that's when it just like hit that peak moment. And that's when I realized. And to be honest with you, there were a lot of signs along the way. There were a lot of flags, red flags, banners, you name it, they were there. And I think I just chose to ignore it and just keep pressing on because that's what I was used to doing. And because I spend so much time focused on my work and my business and getting to the next level, I think initially I just associated all of those feelings and things that were happening to the changes that were happening at work. And yes, there were a lot. Yes, work was really stressful. There was things that were happening in leadership that just was rubbing me the wrong way. And I felt a lot of pressure from that. So with that being said, and then also just other things that was happening at work, that just automatically associated the feeling of what was happening just to work. And of course, when it comes to work, you have to do it. Work is work, it pays the bills. So even though things are happening and we might not be happy with what's going on, you just continue to push through because that's what you do. And because of that, I wasn't really paying attention to what was really happening around me, the things that I was doing to react to what was happening around me. So I didn't really understand how it was really affecting me until it was like too late. All I know is around April was when everything kind of just came to a head and I felt like I was done. I was literally at that fuck it moment. Like, fuck this, fuck that. Like, even at work, things were just like, you know what? Fuck that. Everything that was happening with leadership, or I was, well, fuck it. Don't care. I don't even care no more. Whatever you say, yeah, fuck it. That was my attitude. And I know once I got to that fuck it attitude, something was definitely wrong. And I needed a break from all of it. I needed a break. So that meant from work, from family, from friends, from business. I needed a break, like a serious break. And that's when I started scaling back on things. I knew that I had to make some changes, and it wasn't going to be simple changes. It had to be drastic changes. And why, you may ask, I needed to make those drastic changes? Well, my friends, I was burnt out. Burnt out. I was burnt out. Like literally, physically burnt out. So, what exactly did that mean for me? Well, at the time, I didn't even know I was burnt out. I didn't learn what all of those feelings, those thoughts, those things that I was dealing with, I didn't get the term for what was happening to me until I was having a conversation with my therapist. And she basically said, "You're burnt out." And that's literally when it all clicked for me. That's when it all made sense. I was walking around for months and months with so much going on. I intentionally brushed off all that I was feeling. I kept pushing myself into my work, into my business, growing on social media, being consistent, being supportive to my family and my friends, showing up for everybody. Whenever I was needed, I was showing up. I was doing all of these things for everyone. But the most important person that I should have been showing up for, I wasn't. I was not showing up for her. I placed her and all of her needs to the side. When she was completely drained and exhausted, that's when I realized that something had to give. Like I had to stop. Something had to give, and it had to give like now. So here I am, 3 months later. I've taken time off work. I've scaled back on business stuff, work stuff, family, friends, and I'm finally now prioritizing myself. I'm prioritizing my health. I'm prioritizing my fitness and my overall well being, especially my mental health. Over these past few months, with working out consistently and going to therapy, there's so many things that I've learned about myself that I either intentionally ignored or chose not to see, or they were just literally blind spots for me that I'm finally realizing and they're coming to light. Some of these things have been painful to admit and even to say out loud. Some of them I already knew in my mind. I've thought about them. I just never came to terms with it. And most of these things I'm still working through each week with my therapist. At the beginning of 2024, I told myself that I'm about to be 40 next year. I want to be physically, emotionally, mentally, and financially in the best shape of my life by the time I turn 40. I came into this year with every intention of working on becoming the best version of myself. However, I underestimated exactly how much digging deep that was going to take. I also didn't realize the amount of hard pills that I was going to have to swallow. I didn't think about some of those truths that I was going to have to admit to myself, say them out loud, work through them. I also didn't realize that I was going to encounter some of those old emotions that I thought that I'd worked so hard to bury a long time ago. Some of those started resurfacing again. And the hardest part in all of this is also coming to terms with the fact that going through a process like this means that there's the possibility of losing some of the people that I love and care about the most along the way. Throughout my therapy sessions, whenever my therapist would, ask this question, or she would bring up, things that I'm working through and how I think it could impact my relationship with people, or some of the changes that I'm going to have to make because of the because of the transformation that I'm going through. My response to her always is, I'm okay with that, because at the end of the day, I have to be okay with the changes that are coming. I I have to be okay with the fact that there's the possibility that I may lose some people who are close to me. I have to be okay with that. Because what I've also realized is that sometimes when you start to change, the people around you don't change. And then there's that gap that you can't necessarily close with that person. So it's either they're going to grow with you, or they may get left behind. And the stage that I'm in right now, I realize that I'm okay with that. I'm okay with growing and becoming the person that I know I'm supposed to be. And if I lose someone, it's not necessarily my fault that I lost them. It's just that I'm in a different stage. And that's okay. I'm okay with that. I also realized that I had to be okay with the emotions that I'm feeling. I've been notorious for not dealing with my emotions. And of course, that'll come down the line as to why or how I got to that point where I avoid my emotions. It's something that I've recently been learning about. Yeah. So I'm okay with having to go through those emotions that are very uncomfortable. They're painful. I don't like it, but I know that it's what's best for me. So in order to get to that next level, I have to go through those emotions, because I've spent so much time going around them, below them, above them, pushing them to the side. I've done everything with them other than go through them. So now I'm at the point where I have to start going through those emotions so that I can accept them and move on from them. So, to conclude everything, the reason for this podcast is to really share the experiences that I'm going through in an effort to allow you guys to see and know and feel that, one, you are not alone in this. You're not alone. There are so many of us out there that are going through similar or the same thing, and it's okay. I'm sharing this so you can relate to the fact that others feel your pain, others understand, and of course, for us to learn from each other's experience. I've had the opportunity to sit down with a therapist that I work with 2 times a week, and I'm not sure what I would do without that experience with her. And I know not everyone has the opportunity to sit down with a therapist, but they might have access to this podcast and they're able to see and understand. And I can explain what my experience is like and share some of the tools that I'm learning along the way that may be beneficial to y'all. So, not only are you not alone, I'm here to share some of the tools that I'm learning, and hopefully you can apply some of the things that I've learned to what you're going through. That way, your experience with all of this can be better. I also want to bring some awareness to the fact that none of us are perfect. Regardless of all the highlight reels that we see on social media, that is not real. That is far from real. It's not real. Let's just stick to that fact. It's highlights. So when people see things on social media, just keep in mind that no one is sharing their low light. And I don't know if low light is a word that applies to this scenario, but you get what I mean. I want you guys to see that I'm human and so are you. You, just like I have traumas that are affecting my decision making, and I avoid my emotions and put the focus on my professional life, or you may put your focus on something else that you use to deflect from dealing with your emotions. I'm here to show you that we all do it. And the only way to fix things and to really deal with things is to actually deal with those emotions and feel them. I also want to share that I've been pouring into everyone else's cup, and I've realized that I've neglected my own cup. So maybe you've been doing the same thing, and you need to realize how you've been neglecting yourself in ways that you can start turning that around. Another thing that I would like to do with this podcast is to show the journey that I'm on to putting myself first. And you know how on the airplane they say, make sure you put your mask on first before you help other people? In that same thought process, that same vein, I need to learn how to do that. And it's so sad that I have to say I need to learn how to put myself first, because that sounds crazy, but I'm learning how to do that because I've never been that person that put my needs before the needs of others. And if you're that way, it's okay. That's why we're here, to learn together, learn how to be better to ourselves, learn how to set boundaries, learn how to understand our emotions, understand why we do the things that we do, because all of those things is why is why we treat ourselves the way that we do. It's unfortunate that it took me getting to the point of burnout for me to realize that I'm important and I need to do more for myself. If you're at that point in your life as well, this journey that I'm on will definitely be something that can help you identify where you are, and help you get the tools that you need so you can get back on the right track. So if I can do it, you can do it too. And I'm here to share my life stories, the lessons that I've learned, the tools that I'm learning in therapy. And I'm here to share it all. Raw, unedited, well, not unedited, raw, the real. And this is my truth. It's not anyone else's truth. It's how I've experienced my life. So yeah, there's some things that some people may not agree with, and that's okay. It's my story to tell. It's my truth. And again, in the phrase that I like to share with my therapist, I'm okay with whatever reaction I get from this, because at the end of the day, in order for me to get to my next level of healing, I know that this is something that I have to do. So it's okay to share your story. It's okay to, validate your feelings, because for a very long time, I did not do that. And hence why I ended up in this situation that I'm in. I'm just here to share my life story so that you can take from it the lessons and the tools that you need to. I'm here to build a community where it's a space where we can share our feelings and our thoughts and our emotions freely. So if you have some things that you would like to share about your life experiences that you feel would be beneficial to myself or others, there's a space here for you. If anything that I've stated resonates with you, be sure to hit that subscribe button, because there's so much more episodes to come that I'm sure will be a benefit to you. Tune into next week's episode where I dive into what is burnout and how am I dealing with it. Thank you so much for joining me. I will see you in the next episode. Special thanks to Tavon Charlemagne for producing the theme song for From Surviving to Thriving podcast.